We're here today at Makita's showroom in Sydney. We've been lucky enough to be able to come in here and have a look. It's like being in a grown-up's toy shop here. It's awesome. And we've got Ron from Makita with us today, who we're going to go through the range of outdoor power equipment. So first we're going to talk about this new XGT 21-inch mower. So Ronnie, tell us about this new mower.
Yeah, well, it's part of the XGT battery range, which is our commercial battery range. So why XGT? XGT is a more powerful battery. What does that mean? That means you can get your job done more efficiently and you can go to a bigger amp hour in this range. Also giving extremely powerful feedback into the motor, which the commercial guys really need. It's also got a 21-inch cutting deck, which is the standard deck for commercial operators. It also has a very low setting. We have 10 different settings that can go down to 20 mil, which a lot of the commercial guys really appreciate. It's got a 60-litre catcher that is fully permeable, so you get a lot of power through that machine and a really good grass.
Creates a good vacuum for the grass to come into the back.
Correct, yeah.
We use this for we've been using this for a couple of days, and it worked. It caught really well. It really filled the bag. It got all the turf to the back of the catcher. It was a fantastic machine. Light, nimble, worked well.
In addition to that, it's compact. It can be folded up, easy to carry. A lot of the guys these days will move into van type situations, so battery fulfills that need. No storing of fuel, no smell in the vehicle, and a very clean option for the guys these days.
So that we just talked about the 21-inch XGT. This is the 19-inch XGT, which is a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, more nimble for those smaller courtyards, tight access type areas. So tell us about this one, Ronnie.
Yeah, so we've got a few of the commercial guys using this type of mower because there's a lot of air conditioning units around the sides of houses, and a lot of these guys can't get through there with a 21-inch, be it because it's too heavy or too wide or whatever. So some of the guys opt for this. Also especially the northern beaches in Sydney, there's a lot of hilly areas and a lot of steps. So they prefer this unit, which is a bit lighter, so they can fold it up and carry it up the steps. Same power, same cutting ability, just a bit narrower.
So when we fold this and the handle comes up, what sort of weight are we looking at, Ron?
We're looking at about 30 kilograms.
Okay.
30 to 34 kilograms with batteries.
All right. So you could take the batteries out, lighten it a little bit if you needed to move it around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take the catcher off, that'll lighten it a little bit more.
Yeah, and it folds up really well.
Right. Now we're looking at the new XGT brush cutters or line trimmers or whippersnippers, whatever you want to call them. So this is the normal sort of one we would use, say, in the normal fuel one, coming down to this without the arms. So tell us about this one, Ronnie.
Yeah, as with all the XGT products, very versatile, very powerful. It's one of the most powerful out there at the moment. It reciprocates at 7,000 RPM, but you can even get the job done on level 2, so you don't need to go to the full 7,000 RPM. In terms of preserving the battery, through most applications you'd get that done on level 2. Very light, very quiet, very efficient, and a really great machine.
We use this week with the levels 1, 2 and 3, especially when your knife or doing line edges. Even the 1 was good because the 2 or the 3, it sort of pulled it, so the line goes a little bit out of whack, so you can slow it down to, if it's your normal everyday regular ones, you can slow it down, you get a much better line. It's not pulling it hard, so it's good to be able to adjust that speed well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's got a full kilowatt in there, so you got lots of power. Also, a lot of guys complain about feathering the trigger. You can feather this trigger as you do with a petrol machine. This
is a really good thing. This is the multi-tool attachments. So you buy the power head, and then you can build all your equipment off that power head. For example, edges, hedge cutters, a blower, brush, which is great for synthetics and sweeping up mud and things in different situations. So tell us a little bit about the different attachments, Ronnie, that go onto the power head.
Yeah, so when a franchisee starts, they have a lot of questions, and these are the answers to those questions. So normally a franchisee would get a whippersnipper, a blower, a mower and a hedger, and then they'd have other odd jobs to do. So what we supply is a power head, And what that does is it's a unit that you can attach these to. So very versatile. The edger, for example, will give you very neat edges. And what that does is it helps you preserve whippersnipper line, so very useful for that as well. It also rests on a wheel, so there's less fatigue on your body. Also, we have various hedging attachments. So if you've got a handheld hedger, but say can't afford a long type hedger and you have a multi-tool, you can at least buy that to start off with. So for your low hanging hedges, you can use that. In terms of cleanups as well, we also have the brush attachment. We have a few nurseries that use this type of equipment. So if a franchisee has to, for example, puff up AstroTurf, this is a very good brush to do it. So a lot of real estate agents, when they sell properties, like the AstroTurf buffed up. So this would be perfect for that. If you've got a bit of a mess with water or mud, or have to clean a client's driveway with sludge, use something like that. So what it really does is...
So if you're doing small landscape jobs, or laying turf, and you've got that the soil left over that's got stuck from being on top of the pallet, great idea to clean it up. Really good for presentation. Another one I want to mention is the pump. So you can attach that to the multi-tool. So if you have to move some water out of a hole in a golf course, for example, or in a drain or wherever. Fixing up a pond. Replacing the pump in a pond. Onto our multi-tool, and there's an outlet pipe that will pump it out. So really cost-effective way to remove water without buying a pump and carrying this in your vehicle. Also very compact, so you can fit all of this into the back of a car boot. So that's the advantage of the multi-tool system, is the versatility and the amount of jobs it can do. The one good thing about this is, as you don't have to buy everything at once. So you just, especially when you're starting, or you decide, 12 months down the track, I wouldn't mind the brush. You can go and buy the brush, or I wouldn't mind buying the pump or the hedge cutters or whatever. I always love this multi-tool attachment brush cutter, because it gives you a second brush cutter. So if you've got a problem with that brush cutter and something goes wrong, or you've got someone else in the truck, in your vehicle, an employee, and you need 2 brush cutters for the day, here you go, you've got it. It's a really cheap way. Instead of buying a full unit, you can use this on your power head. And then you've got the extension pole head attachment, which will use for your hedge cutters. So all of a sudden you've got a lot more reach, whether vertically or horizontally across the top of the hedges. So yeah, that's a really good little attachment. Also breaks it down for storage. You haven't got a long piece of equipment that you have to use. And in addition, if you need to make it a bit longer, you can fit these on top of each other. So you can get a couple of these to get a longer reach. Another good attachment is the chainsaw. So all of a sudden you've got a little pole saw. So for those, keeps well within our 4 metres of our insurance. So you can use this to cut down those small branches that might be overhanging a gutter, or overhanging a pathway and blocking the pathway. It's a great way of using, the power head and a cheap attachment rather than a designated pole saw. So all of a sudden your power head becomes a dozen different pieces of equipment, and good for storage. So you don't have to, and again, you don't have to have all these attachments in your vehicle or your trailer on one given day. You look at the start of the day, what have I got to do today? And you pick up the attachment and you go, right, I'll take these attachments today. For example, you're not using this every day, but for specific jobs, you pick it up, take it out. They're great. These sweepers are absolutely fantastic for that synthetic, using on synthetic. And I remember we were great for moving sand off of synthetic. So if you've got playgrounds and kindergartens or childcare centres, schools where there's synthetic around the sand pits, it gets all that sand back in really good and fluffs it all the synthetic up. Looks fantastic. Yeah. And also what really helps is you have franchisees who are a bit nervous about having chainsaws. So just start off with one of these. The chain's far out of reach, so you don't need to worry about anything. This is 1200 mil basically from you. So it's a lot safer if you're a little bit nervous with chainsaws. But again, always, if you're nervous with chainsaws, great idea to do a course. And using chainsaws, use the correct PPE. Okay, so this is the XGT hedger. You can see the smaller battery. With that battery, we haven't got a battery here, but it sits flat. So the battery doesn't get in your way with this. So if it's not knocking on the hedge or where it might be getting caught on things when you're working around, absolutely, look at it. Look at the weight. You put that battery in, it balances itself beautifully. It's so light. If you haven't used battery hedge cutters before, the first thing you notice about this is there's no fumes and a lot less noise, and they cut beautifully. They really do. They cut beautifully. We used again this week. We were using them on some hedges. As you can see there.
Yeah, so a very powerful and light machine. So what that does for you is it makes you more productive. How does it do that? Well, in terms of ergonomics, you're not going to get tired holding this hedger. In terms of usability, it has a swivel handle. So if you're left-handed or right-handed, it's not a problem. Also extremely smooth and makes no sound. And also at the end of the day, when I used to use petrol machinery, I used to get the fumes and smoke in my face, and you get none of that. So what does that do? It also makes you can hold it face height, you can hold it anywhere near your ears. Absolutely fantastic machine. The reciprocation on this thing is insane.
And again, here, there's no vibration from the engine going. So you're not getting that fatigue or your hands are getting sore because you're getting all that vibration coming back through you. Yep. But it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's for those long days where you have 8 hours of hedging. With this, you can do it easily. In fact, I've spoken to a couple of franchisees and had a discussion between how this feels and how the petrol feels, and they actually don't feel too bad. They don't feel as fatigued as they would with a petrol machine. Just in terms of weight, noise, even the smell of their clothes, they have none of that. So it's a beautiful option.
This is the XGT handheld blower.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about this, Ronnie.
Yeah, so XGT improvement in terms of power from our LXT. This has a wind speed of 230 kilometers an hour. The really good thing about this blower is its weight and the ergonomics. Also, the runtime's pretty good. On an 8 amp hour battery, locked on max, you can get close to half an hour. So what does that do? If you're blowing down properties at 5 minutes a property, you can do quite a few with an XGT battery in this blower.
Yeah, we've used this blower. This blower is really nice. Nice weight, good balance. It ran well. We used it this week when we've been up here in Sydney. It was fantastic. You know, you don't have to run it, when Ron said, flat out for 30 minutes. You don't need to run flat out for 30 minutes. A lot of the time you're trying to control things, so you can feather it nicely and run it low and keep everything under control. So, you know, in 30 minutes, you'd probably get 6 to 8 properties out of that. So I want to thank Ron and Makita for bringing us out here today. It's been fantastic. It's really been awesome. You come in here, every Makita tool and everything Makita sell, it's just wild and what they sell. So thanks a lot, Ronnie, for bringing us out.
Thanks for that, John. So with Makita, you're not just buying a product, you're buying a history of battery tools, you're buying backup service. We have reps in each state that can help the outdoor power guys in terms of demos, in terms of warranties and that sort of thing. So you're buying into an ecosystem that can support you. We've got service centers throughout the country. We're here to help.
Yep, cool. Thanks, Ronnie.
Thank you.